Number one, Curtis Blow. Basketball is my favorite sport. I like the way they dribble up and down the court, just like I'm the king.
Welcome, y'all, to another edition of Around the Rim. I'm your host, the Dudster, Nestor Dudley, along with Bradworth Benton, who's always representing, so you know it must be mid-season report card. Welcome back to Around the Rim.
Thank you as always, and happy 15th once again.
Thank you.
For those people who don't recognize the greatness of Around the Rim, it is 15 years long.
And they need to recognize.
Yes, they do.
But right now is the mid-season report card, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about all 8 teams, Team 1 to Team 8, talk about them all. And Team 1, who's on top of the league right now, Brad, the Celtics. The Celtics 6-0, Brad, thus far a portrait of a perfect season.
Yeah, right now the Celtics are doing everything right, and they're competing in every aspect of the game, rebounding. There's still a little bit out there on their defense, but they're doing everything right on offense, and people are chipping in. With John O'Leary, it seems that he's stepping up a little bit. Michael Lou is dropping a couple points, and I mean, you can't really go wrong. You got David Bassari, one of the shorter kids in the league, actually putting in points. You know, they got people chipping in. You're going to get your Skeins, Weiner's going to score, and Marvin Mothersill is going to score. But when you get the added people from the bench to the lower two on the starting five, it's just an added bonus, and that's why they're undefeated.
When the bench is chipping in 2 points here, 3 points there, 1 point there, that's huge. That relieves some of the pressure, some of the scoring pressure off the big guns, as Brad just said. David Bassari, Michael Lou, John O'Leary, Drew Weiner, Bobby Skane, Don DeRosas, Richard Dwyer, Marvin Mothersill, Jason Chen, and still missing Jarrett Pemberton. And basically, Brad, he only has 2 more games to show up to be eligible for the playoffs.
That's true. Jarrett Pemberton
is still missing.
Highly scouted by the Kings coaching staff as well as the Celtics. The Celtics grabbed him just before the Kings were about to pick. They were really after this young gentleman, and he has not shown up. Luckily for the Kings, they didn't get him. Unlucky for the Celtics, but lucky for the rest of the league because he had some ups. He got some game. It would have helped the Celtics' cause even more, but what can you do? And all I have to say is, my opinion right now, the MVP for the Celtics is Drew Weiner. Without him, they don't run.
You were talking about the Kings a moment ago, and it's the perfect segue for the Kings. The Kings, the team that are number 2, the mighty Kings, Brad. They started off strong, but let's just call it the way it is, Brad. They start off strong against one of the 3 weaker teams, being the Lakers, and then the second game against the Bullets was a forfeit, so they didn't even play there. But they've only have 1 blemish so far, and that is to the Celtics.
Yeah, the Celtics beat them. The Kings, like you said, a forfeit win over the Bullets. They didn't really get to play as a unit. They played the Lakers in the first game of the season. I don't think the Lakers were prepared enough and ready for the Kings. Kings seemed to be a little pumped up. Then the next game a forfeit. Then the next practice, everyone was all giddy and happy. Oh, tied for first place and blah, blah, blah. And next thing you know, they played the Celtics, who were actually ready to take on the challenge. The Celtics knew that the Kings were the team to beat if they wanted to be on top of the heap, and they are, and they beat the Kings. So now it's a battle. Will the Celtics have a loss before they meet the Kings again?
Kings roster: the Jolly Roger Hickey, Leslie Philippe, Brian Horton, Danny Suter, Richie Rogers, Sean McFeely, Michael Twisted Steel, Jimmy Chevy, Bobby Bedard, Michael Ricketts, and the person who decided, Brad, to finally play. He got everything in order, and he was legal. His first game. He's been on the team now. This is his second year on the team, but this is his first game this past week and this past Sunday. Wiskender Prophet.
Wiskender Prophet finally shows up, gets all his stuff together. I believe he only played 1 game last year. Decided to re-sign after sign-ups. Hasn't shown up. Game 6, he shows up. All right, let's play. And he comes to practice. I just happened to be strolling through Malden High School one evening, and he goes, "Hey, Brad, I hope you get this on camera because Sunday I'm scoring. I'm getting me some baskets." He had 0. But he went in there and he played.
Maybe he was talking about going to Market Basket. Market Basket.
This is very
Market
true. It's
Basket
not
and
that
Chelsea,
far.
cheap prices.
I like it there.
He was probably talking about there. I do my shopping there as well when I'm up in town.
You get them juices?
Oh, absolutely.
I like them
Absolutely.
juices. I knew you did.
Teams in third place, the Sonics, the blue-collar team, Chuck Rogers, Gary Rogers, Troy Dinkins, captaining the ship, coaching those boys. This is a team that both you and I, Brad, did not pick going to the Madness. And ever since that, those coaches, more specifically Troy Dinkins, have never let us forget that we didn't pick his Sonics, Brad.
Yeah, the Sonics, I mean, when you looked at it in the very beginning of the season, you hear the rumors. Who's happy, who's not, who didn't want to be a Sonic.
And plus, we were going based on the rumors that one of their big picks, Michael Lopes-Rafferty, was only going to play half the games.
Exactly, and he's shown up for every game so far this season. He's had some words with head coach and assistant coach. That got ironed out because if not, he was going to die. But, I mean, he put it out there, and now he's showing up every day. And that was when I first said it, if he doesn't show up, they don't make the playoffs. If he's there every game, I see the Sonics in fourth place. I still think that they got a few losses on their way very shortly, and we're just going to have to wait and see what happens after this weekend. But I don't really see the Sonics cruising into the playoffs. Put it that way.
Sonics roster, Jake Halloran, who was their man, Tommy Redford, Danny Lou, Sean Chase, Jeff Legentes, Joe Carlson, Michael Lopes-Rafferty, Lenzel Adams, Michael O'Brien, Michael Dominici. This is a solid squad, and Coach Chuck Rogers always puts a solid squad on the floor.
Yeah, he does. And now who I really like on this squad is Mike O'Brien. He's not the one people looking. I really like Jake Halloran. I love his hustle, his heart, his desire. He makes mistakes on the court, and he basket hangs a lot, so he's not playing D, so teams have advantage. But once they get that rebound between like a Sean Chase, who's, tall as a cliff, but thin as, thin as a twig. So he gets his boards as well as Raftery, and they pitch it out to Halloran because they know he's always there. If you get someone to follow him, you can stop him. But he's that quick and he's smart enough to get away from the defense. But I really like Mike O'Brien. He's chipping in this past weekend. He did very well. I believe he had 10 points on Sunday or something, and he's just chipping in everywhere he's supposed to. I think he's the key. Keep that third scorer off the table, off the books, and you can beat the Sonics. But right now, they're in third place for a reason. They're playing well together, as their coaches always do. So you got to see what happens with them, but I expect some losses soon.
Team that's in fourth place, Brad, is a team that I have been high on ever since the Jamboree, and that's the Pistons. Very, very solid squad. Everybody touches the ball in the O. They're not the tallest team out there. They're not the fastest team out there. They're not the thinnest team out there. They're not even the most athletic team out there. But this team, Brad, I've liked this team since the beginning, and this team is right now in Madness contention, and I really don't see this team dipping out of Madness contention, Brad.
No, I also picked the Pistons to go. I love Kevin Barry's heart. I just wish he'd pass a little more. Craig Garner, I can't say enough good stuff about that young man. He plays hard, misses a lot of layups, and most of them are open. But
he blew the bunny.
Oh, he blows a lot of bunnies. But I really enjoy his heart, his push, his anger throughout the game that he knows how to control. Very quiet. And, he comes up, shakes everybody's hand. He's shaking our hand in the cable cast booth. Even when we're not in there, he's coming over here and saying, thanks, appreciate it, coming down, helping out.
He probably doesn't want us to show any of those blown bunnies on the roll-ins.
This is quite true. That's why you've been here 15 years, and I'm just standing when needed. But, yeah, I really like him. But I'm really high on Charles Washington, one of his higher picks. I really, I think he's a future star in the making. This year, maybe not, as well as Steve Sands, who's struggling right now. Charles Washington's starting to pick it up. He dropped, I think, 14 against the Kings Sunday in a losing effort, but he showed that he can go down low, he can put the ball back up, put it in, and that's all he has to do his first year as a sophomore. Put the ball back in when you get your garbage points. On the weak side, put them back in, and you'll be fine. And Alan Freeman, much improved. He's helping the Pistons squad, and I still see them going to the playoffs.
Pistons, Marwan Mondesor, Alan Freeman, Chris Michelli, Joe Wilhott, Kevin Barry, Charles Washington, Steve Sands, Kyle Rufo, Marcus Bailey, Craig Garner. Brad, I think when Craig Garner and Kevin Barry are on the same page. This team's going to go far. In the beginning of this season, this team was struggling because those two were not on the same page. They were not reading the same book, nor were they in the same library. But then they decided to pass it to each other, and that team is going places, Brad. I like Charles Washington. He knows his role. He knows he's not an outside shooter. Therefore, he does not take any outside shots. Everything is in the paint. And Kyle Rufo, what can we say? With the exception of listening to his father when it comes to defending people, and that's why Kyle Rufo is on the Dirty Dozen list. With the exception of that, when he doesn't listen to his father and does everything else, he's a very, very good, solid player, a much better athlete than his father.
Oh, absolutely. Kyle Rufo could have been one of the steals of the draft. He didn't go high, but he didn't go that low, and I think it was a great pickup for the Pistons. Kyle Rufo, I really enjoy his game. He knows perimeter, 8 to 10 feet max. Anywhere else, he knows he's not going to hit. He sneaks in off that baseline, comes up and underneath the rim, grabs some boards. He's a big body. You know, it's a shame teams slipped on him, even though some teams said they were going to take him. But, you know, when you have a father like that, you got to be careful what you're taking.
Now, the team that's in fifth place, Brad, the Sixers. The Sixers, Brad, what can we say about the Sixers? They won their first 3 games. They were 3-0. They were on top of the heap. The players were having illusions of portrait of a perfect season. It's never been done before, Brad. Had head coach Cliff Williams up here last week. Little did I know that he also had those same visions, portrait of a perfect season. It's never been done before, Brad. And now this team has lost 3 straight. So they won their first 3, they lost their first 3, and Brad, in my opinion, this Sixers team is in a crisis.
Yeah, right now you're losing 3 straight at a crucial point just before mid-season. You want to stay strong. People are predicting you to go into the playoffs with no problem. But right now, you're not even in the top 4. They're definitely having a crisis. Olgins can only do so much. I like to call him Ice. I don't like calling him OJ because his initials are not OJ. It's OC. And he's not from, you know.
But they all call him the Juice down there, Brad.
He calls himself the G. He calls himself in the third person. The Juice doesn't appreciate that last foul. I don't appreciate how you're talking to the Juice.
If it works for The Rock, why not for the Juice?
This is true. He might have that much pull, but I mean, he can only do so much. Who I really enjoy on this team, Ricky Douglas. I just wish he'd get a clue and stop shooting so many threes from the same spot. He hit 3 in one game. I don't think he's hit 3 the rest of the season.
Ricky Douglas is the brother of Jamie Guess, who was a 3-year man for the Hawks, and the Hawks did retire his number 9. Eric Ribeiro, Matty Manuel, Joshua McCown, Sean Hickey, Sammy Jean, Ricky Douglas, Everson Blank, John McMillan, Jonathan Lamb, Olgins Cheridor. Olgins Cheridor is big in the paint. He likes to get dirty with all that man stuff down there, Brad. Eric Ribeiro, he's good with dishing off the ball. The best person who dishes off the ball is Matty Manuel. He looks to pass first before he shoots. He's wide body, big boned, Brad. I like to see him in the paint. But Josh McCown, he's the enigma. He's last year Rookie of the Year, and he hasn't really shown up this year. I haven't seen a Rookie of the Year that had plummeted this much, Brad. And you have to go all the way back to the first year of the Rookies of the Year, 1992. Nick Cotry of the Pistons was the Rookie of the Year. Then in 1993, he tanked. And we're seeing the same thing out of Joshua McCown, Brad.
This is true. You look at the past Rookies of the Year. You had Danny Suda, now in his 3rd year. He was previous Rookie of the Year. Last year he averaged more. This year he's even averaging even more. Last year you have Josh McCown. Probably he was the best free throw shooter in all the league last year.
And I'm not even sure if he's going to the line yet this year, Brad.
I don't think he's gone there very often because he's either complaining about a call, arguing with his coach, not performing, not getting inside the paint, knows he's a good free throw shooter, but he's outside the key where there's no fun happening. Get inside, get to the line where you're best at. Stop complaining about the refs. Play your game, do your thing. Eric Ribeiro, much improved, probably their most improved player. I really like him. He's stepping up a lot. Tries to take too many things into his own hands at the end of the game. Matt Emanuel, you said it perfect, the best passer on the team. Would be nice to get him in the paint, but he does his best work outside the key. And Sean Hickey, probably one of the nicest kids. May not have the offense he needs, but he's a damn nice kid. And the rest of the team, if they could just calm down, weather the storm. You lost 3 straight. No need to panic. Get back on the winning track. It'll start feeling good again.
The next team's in 6th place, the Dynasty team, the Bullets. Brad, we said at the beginning of the season, when you have 2 titles in 3 seasons, that equals 1 dynasty, but you're going to have to rebuild, and we're giving Steve Wright a pass this year. Their record, Brad, is 1-5, and I don't even have to tell you who was the one team that they beat.
Okay, let's not speak about that game. we can speak about Corey Spencer, this year's front runner for Rookie of the Year, in my opinion. I want to ask you, your top 3 Rookies of the Year right now. I'm going to throw you under the web, even though I don't have a web.
No, there's no web. Well, certainly, you're talking about Rookies of the Year. You want to talk about Corey Spencer, who you just said. Corey Spencer's one. I like Ricky Douglas of the Sixers. Ricky Douglas
really
another
enjoy
one.
him.
And to the top of my head, I wish you gave me something. And you know what? Someone, it might be a surprise to you, but this person, and hopefully we'll have enough time to get to this person's team, Terrence Nolan. His game has been described as smooth. I like those the 3 top runners Rookie of the Year. What do you think, Brad? Throwing the web back to you.
I'm right with you. I was going to say it if you couldn't pull his name out. I was going to throw it out. He's the real bright spot on the Hawks. We will talk about them shortly. We are talking about the Bullets. We're talking about Corey Spencer.
One of those guys, huh?
Yeah, we're talking about, Terrence. Well, we're talking about Corey Spencer, the rookie, front runner right now, in my opinion. You got other guys, helping on their squad. A little bit different from their last 3 years, obviously. There's only a couple returners on the team. Frank Cipriano, probably like the team captain, even though he might not have the C on his shirt. But I bet he basically stands there. You got good pickup in Jonathan Contreras, but they are only going to do so little. They did get 1 victory so far in the year. They might not get another one unless they play that team again.
Well, they're going to play the Lakers again, Brad.
Yeah,
and I think this weekend,
a good record against them.
And this weekend they're playing the Hawks, and we here with no, Brad. I'm not going to put you in the web. You're not going to be arrested. I told you, I'm not going to do it to you this time, brother. It's time to go into the Rollins. But before we go into the Rollins,
basketball shirt for this.
But before we go into the Rollins, I just want to read the rest of the Bullets roster, which is Frank Cipriano, Jeremy McCormick, who's doing less traveling this year.
Yes.
Corey Spencer, Jonathan Contreras, Michael Torchetti, James Michelli, Jeff Legentes, Joe Redford, Suna Chamsadine, Zachary Aber, who I have yet to see. I think he's hanging out with the dude for
Jared.
Well, with Jared and Islands Joseph. But now, Brad, it's time to go to the
I
Rollins.
just want to say, great job. You read them all right.
I read them all right. I've been doing that. So, you know what? I've been watching the first season of Round Red, which is on the website, herlive.blogspot.com. Anyways, Aria, you ready? Go to the Rollins. Since I just bumped through all that. Maybe they arrested RA, too.
Might have, because we haven't rolled, but that's okay. We can go through it. You did a great job reading down the names, and hopefully he'll bring that rolling right up, and we can get going, because I want to see him!
Yeah, and I want to get off camera one.
And we want to go to
camera
siren, too.
There we go.
As long as I'm not getting arrested, it's all good. We are moving on to another team soon, so we're going to wait on that. Hopefully we're at a stalling point right now, but...
You know what we're going to do, Brad? We're going to talk about the other team. Just lower this siren. Whenever you're ready for the Rollins, just put in the Rollins. I'll catch up. We'll talk about this other team. So we won through the Bullets. Now the team, Malden's favorite team, the Lakers, Brad. Lakers won 1 game, and that was against the Hawks, and that is fine by Beanie Amos.
Yeah, right now the Lakers are, they're, again, somewhat rebuilding.
Oh, here we go, Brad.
Go.
This past week, the 27, the Kings, Hawks, and Rogers hits Suda getting his swerve on the baseline. Ricketts to the rack. Suda feeds Rogers on the low post. Rogers in the Crayola. And Rogers, he's going to be bailing out Suda. And Rogers with the theft, and here comes the mighty Kings. Weebert Lehens, nice Jay. And Lou busting out the whooping stick. Generazio with the no look. Look at that, Brad, because he didn't.
Ugly.
Schooling the Jolly Roger. And Ricketts with the jumper. The next set, Jace Carl with the theft. Homeboy is living large, but Coach Badako Stroud is screaming, "You're going the wrong way, player!" And of course, coaches Rogers and Higgins, they don't see anything wrong with that. They said, let the young lad go if he wants to go that way. Leslie Philippe, finger rolling. And Aguas getting his swerve on. Philippe is on fire. Nolan with the D-nice. And Ricketts with the running bus. The Kings were victorious, 75-50. High man for the Hawks was Morose with 11 points. Steele led all. Scored with 16 points. The Kings improved to 4-1. The Hawks dropped to goose-egged and 5. Next game, Sixers Celtics. And from the giddy, the C's are schooling. Mothersill finds Skane all by he lonesome. McMillan, tightrope walking to Ribeiro. Celtics putting on that bum rush. Ribeiro tells Douglas, have some. And Drew Weiner, he must moonlight as a bus driver because he's taking the Sixers to school. The Mothersill, straight butter. The C's are still bum rushing. Oljan Cherador getting saucy. McMillan with the fadeaway. And the Celtics with the ridiculous full court press. Bosari all by his lonesome in the red zone. After recess, Emmanuel with the cleanup. O'Leary amongst the Crimson. Emmanuel tells Weiner, get that stank outie. And this one is just too easy as the Celtics beat the Sixers 74-42. Ricky Douglas, high man with the Sixers, 15 points. Bobby Skane led all. Scores with 19 points. The Celtics improved to 5 and zip. The Sixers dropped to 3-3. Third game, Pistons, Lakers, Barry in the Crayola doing work. Dejon Bunch stroking all three of these. John Jean off the glass. Freeman with the J. John Jean strong to the hole. Huggins tells Basari, take that buku out. Garner, straight racking. Marcus Bailey, nothing but net. Bunch with the Laker bounce. And I just like to listen to the Planet Rock. And we're just going to sit back here and enjoy this because you know what, Brad? I've been accused of talking too much. So why not let's just sit back and just enjoy this. Josh Gomes following his own shot. And Joshua Gomes beyond the arc where everything is 3. As I bet you thought I was lost, Brad. I just had you psyched. As the Pistons were 20 points better than the Lakers, 66-46. John Jean led the Lakers with 14 points. Kevin Barry led all scores with 16 points. The Pistons improved to 4-2. The Lakers dropped to 1-5. First game Sunday, Kings-Pistons. Kings 53, Pistons 46. Barry Hyman on the Pistons, 17 points. Danny Sue led all scores with 18 points. The Pistons dropped to 4-3. The Kings improved to 5-1. Next game, Celtics-Hawks. Celtics 78, Hawks 40. Drew Weiner led all scorers, and he just busted out the whooping stick with 31 points as the Celtics improved to 6-0. Third and final game, Bullets-Sonics. The Sonics beat the Bulls 57-35. Spencer Hyman for the Bulls, 14 points. Jake Halvin led all scorers with 18 points. The Sonics improved to 4-1, and the Bullets dropped to 1-5. And that's what's this weekend's play, Brad. So now, RA, if you're ready, on to our weekly Around the Rim Award. So let's kick it. Play of the week this past week, Danny Suter of the Kings. We could also kill that siren because I'm getting the feeling that the ambulance is going to come anyway. Thank you. So, play of the week. Coach of the week, Evans Revere, the Magic Man. His team right now is 6-0, and they even have a victory when he's not even there. Team of the week, you got to stay with the Celtics. Right now, Brad, it is the portrait of the perfect season, 6-0. Celtics. And Woo of the Week goes to Glenn Higgins of the Kings because Glenn Higgins is such a good sport. I've known Glenn Higgins for years, and for the first time I can remember, I actually irked him, and it was completely my fault. So, Coach Glenn Higgins, this is my way of apologizing to you publicly, live, in front of Malden, and on the web, in front of the world, because Glenn Higgins, you know me for a long time. I've never apologized to anybody. But to Glenn Higgins, this woo is for you. Woo! Now on to the standings, remember, I don't care who you talk to. If it doesn't match this, it just ain't official. The Celtics right now on top of the league, 6-0, followed by the Kings, 5-1, Sonics, 4-1, Pistons, 4-3, Sixers, 3-3, team that's in crisis. Bullets, Lakers, both 1-5, and bringing up the rear, and dare I say for the first time, Brad, in butt naked last, the Hawks. The Dirty Dozen, Go Ref Go, isn't here tonight, so this is going to be RA's favorite category. The Dirty Dozen, right now, Charles Washington doing work for the Pistons, but he's a hack there, Brad. On top of the league right now, 23 fouls, followed by Dave Israel of the Hawks, Olgens, Cheridor, Kyle Rufo. The one thing that he learned from his father was to foul him, so he's high up on the Dirty Dozen list. McMillan, Lopes Rafferty, Weiner, Kyle, Bunch, Barry, Emmanuel, and the mother still entering the Dirty Dozen. That is the Dirty Dozen, Brad. So next week's games, first game, Kings, Sonics, followed by the Bullets, Hawks. Third game, Lakers, Sixers. And in that first game, Brad, Chris or Chuck is going to go home with a headache. One of those two brothers, Brad, going to go home with a headache. Sunday's game, Sunday is Super Bowl Sunday, Brad. All the games are 1 hour early. So the first game, Sixers, Kings. The second game, Pistons, Celtics. Third game, Sonics, Lakers. And in that second game, the 1:30 in the PM start. Can Paul figure out the magic? Now, Brad,
I like that.
You like that?
I like that.
Now, Brad, what's today's date?
Today is the 1st of February.
Today's the 1st of February. And what do we do every February here on Around the Rim?
We celebrate a certain thing.
We celebrate Black History Month, okay?
Yes, we do.
We'd like to drop some knowledge. And this week we're going to talk about the Rooney Rule. The Rooney Rule, this rule requires NFL teams to interview minority candidates for head coaching opportunities. The rule is named for Dan Rooney, the owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers and the chairman of the league's diversity committee, and is often cited as an example of affirmative action. The reason why I'm going into the Rooney Rule, Brad, is because this Sunday, the Super Bowl, you had to know I was going somewhere with this. This Sunday for the Super Bowl, Brad, you have Lovie Smith, who's the head coach for the Bears, and you have Tony Dungy, who's the head coach for the Colts, and one of those brothers, Brad, is going to come home Super Bowl world champions, which is huge. So no matter what, one's going to come home a champ. But Brad, I'm told that we've only got 2 minutes, so we can wrap up this last team in 2 minutes. Oh, I'm sorry, but first of all, that's why Ari's the best man ever. Around the Rim. That's when Around the Rim is live, and that's when you can see the replay. Next splash screen. When to watch them, Monday through Wednesday. Game of the week this week is Sixers, Pistons from 1/20th. Next splash screen. Where to read them all, evening news, and you're too cheap. They paid 50 cents. MMBL19, not.tripod.com, atrlive.blogspot.com. Okay, the Hawks, Jack Generosio, Jonathan Morose, Kevin Lou, Dave Israel, Zinehouse, Danny Knight, Weebert Lehens, Terrence Nolan, Peterson Norellis, Jace Kyle. Brad, this team simply is screwed.
Very screwed. Terrence Nolan, already spoke to you about it. Just calm down, brother. You got a sweet shot. Let it flow. Your team ain't going to have a great season. Just play your game and stop getting so angry. The Hawks are screwed.
Bradworth Benton, thank you for being a guest once again.
Thank you, as always.
And I just want to say until next time, buenas noches, hooches, cooches. I came in peace. I leave with love. This is for the red, the black, and the green. And I'll be seeing you at the games.
We love that basket.